What are the mistakes to avoid when buying a new construction home? Today, I'm going to give you my top 10 mistakes to avoid. What is going on, guys? In this video today, I'm going to give you my top 10 mistakes that I see would-be new construction buyers make when they are buying a new construction home, because I would prefer that you don't make these mistakes yourself. Number one, not getting home inspections. Yes, home inspections, plural, when you're buying a new construction home. So most buyers don't realize that you have the option to get home inspections when you're buying new construction. And most people don't realize this because typically the sales rep selling you that new construction will actively discourage you from doing so, but you have the right to get a home inspection, and we're going to encourage that you get a home inspection in your pre-drywall walkthrough. That's when all the framing is up in the house, and maybe there's some electrical and there's some HVAC that's already been put in, but we want to get a home inspection on the property to make sure all the framing looks good, and make sure the insides of the house look good, the guts of the house look good before they put up the drywall, because once they put up the drywall, obviously there's only going to be so much that you can see. And then we would recommend getting another home inspection done right before you take possession of the property. As much as the construction manager, the site rep will tell you that everything's perfect, they've looked over it several times, we see every single day where builders make mistakes. And unless you get those home inspections, you really have no way of holding them accountable other than things you can see with your naked eye. Mistake number two is not negotiating the contract at the time of writing the contract. So most people don't realize that these contracts are very negotiable. Builders have, fiscal quarters, fiscal years. They have certain numbers and metrics they are looking to hit, not only the company itself, but the particular sales rep that you're dealing with. So knowing those, quarter ends, year ends, and kind of where they have flexibility in what they can offer you is very, very important, but realize you can absolutely negotiate these deals. Mistake number three is not paying attention to included features versus upgrades. So this is very similar to when you go on a car dealership. The test drive that they're going to take you on is going to be the fully loaded model with all the bells and whistles. And you got to be careful to know when you go to buy, maybe the model or two down, what you're actually getting and what you're not getting. So what we find is people will fall in love with it when they walk through the model home because it's got every feature. A lot of times they even have features that are not available in the home that you actually purchased, but you'll fall in love. But you really got to distinguish with the home that you're buying, what's going to be included in there, what benefits are actually being included, and what's going to be an upgrade that if you opt out of it is not going to be in your home. Mistake number four is believing the builder's timeline. So builders are notorious for giving timelines that they're not able to hit, or that are very, written in pencil and not pen. So the only time that's really concrete is when you get within about 60 days of them being able to deliver your home. And even then it's kind of up in the air, but realize there's going to have to be some natural flexibility with their timeline because most builders are not actually going to be able to hit their timelines. Mistake number five, if you have a home to sell, is not considering the timeline of when you need to get your home sold. So I see a lot of folks that have a home to sell, that they buy the home, they either put their home on the market way too early and then they end up in a temporary housing situation, or they wait way too late to put their home on the market, and then they're in this very stressed position of like they need to get their home sold, or they're carrying two properties at the same time. So really thinking through, when do I need to put my home on the market? We typically find about 60 days out from the day that you're going to take possession, or the day that you need the funds from your home, is a good time to put your home on the market in today's environment. Next mistake to avoid is not being picky with the lot that you choose. A lot of prospective new construction buyers don't think through, hey, if I decide to build my property on this lot, what does that mean for me? Who am I going to be backing up to? What am I going to be backing up to? What's the privacy or lack of privacy going to be like in my backyard or my front yard? How am I going to be facing? You've really got to think through what's going to be being built around you, because obviously when you're buying dirt and you're buying a home off of plans, you're not able to necessarily walk around and see, what's immediately behind you, but you've really got to ask questions and probe and find out, is that going to be a lot that is going to work for you and your family? Next mistake to avoid is considering what options that you need to include with the construction of your home and what you can do after. So there are certain things obviously that you're not going to be easily able to add in after the fact. If you want a morning room bump out of your kitchen, obviously that's something that would be best to do while they're building your home. But certain upgrades like maybe hardwood flooring on the second floor, or a finished basement, or a deck off the back, these are things that you can do after the fact, and a lot of times you can build those much cheaper than what a builder is going to offer you. So just weighing your options and making decisions as to what makes sense to include with the build and what makes sense to do after the fact. Number 8, and this is a sore subject for me, is accepting verbal promises. promises. You never want to accept a verbal promise from a builder, from the site rep, from the construction manager. Anything that they tell you, you're gonna want to nail that down in writing, because I promise you they're gonna have you sign forms that say, you know, the only agreements are what's included in written documents and that no verbal agreements can be honored. So make sure if you are, you know, if there's something that they've got to do after the fact or something they tell you that they're gonna do different, it's got to be in writing, and you don't want conflicting messaging in writing, because at the end of the day, that's what the builder is gonna hold you to, is what's in writing, and anything outside of that is not gonna be enforceable. Number 9 is not shopping mortgage lenders. So most builders are going to have a preferred lender, and a lot of times, honestly, it does make sense to use their preferred lender because you're gonna get a better deal with whatever discounts or points that they're offering you through the preferred lender, but you still wanna hold that lender, make sure they're being honest, and shop around for different interest rates and different points and different closing costs and whatnot, and make sure that you're actually getting a fair deal, because there are some builders that if you work with their preferred lenders, you're actually gonna be paying a little bit more. And then last but not least, yes, it's gonna sound self-serving, but I would highly recommend that you utilize the services of a good buyer's agent that's going to be able to help you navigate through this process. As you can see, there's a lot of pitfalls to avoid. There's things to get right. There's things to make sure that you don't get wrong. And if you're just going into this blindly, you may or may not be taken advantage of by the site rep, by the builder. I highly recommend having representation, knowledgeable representation, when you buy a new construction home. So guys, I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, concerns, throw them in the comments, shoot me a DM. Thanks for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you next week.